Hello, welcome back to my channel where we explore the wilderness of the Beatles' live guitar parts. In this video, I like to share my latest findings on one of the small and yet interesting mysteries of the Beatles recordings. Recently, I've been covering every single version of Matchbox that I could find, and I've come to my conclusions about who played the which solos and more importantly, who played the 12-strings guitar in the background. These observations are based purely on what I can hear and see in the recordings. Nothing here is historically documented as fact, but I like to present what I've discovered so far. So without further ado, let's dive in. So far, we have 4 circulating versions of Matchbox: the Star Club recording, the BBC version, take 1 and take 5 from the 1964 single session. The Star Club version contains 2 distinct solos. Here's who I believe played each one. If this theory holds up, Matchbox becomes one of the rare examples in the Beatles catalogue where both John and George attempted the guitar solos, and where the final choice of soloist may not have been settled until quite late in the process. Let's look at each version more closely. In the first solo from the Hamburg Star Club recording, I believe John is playing. Stylistically, he tends to stay within a single position box and uses arpeggio lines that you also hear in later versions. There's also the Beatles convention where John almost always takes the first solo, followed by George. For the second solo, I think it's George. He comes out of one position and plays slightly more sophisticated phrases, some of which resemble ideas from the final 1964 single version. In the background, you can also hear John's rhythm work on his 58 Rickenbacker. Fast forward to July 1963 when the Beatles recorded Matchbox for the BBC. Here I believe John plays the solo again. The phrasing feels minimal and position based, very much in his style. On top of that, just before the solo begins, Ringo shouts, Finally, we arrive at June 1964, when they recorded the single version. On take 1, John plays a minimalistic solo and repeats similar phrases from the Hamburg version, often in exactly the same position. Ringo once again introduces the solo with However, the boys may not have been satisfied with this solo or the presence of their hero, Carl Perkins, who was visiting the studio at the time, may have influenced that decision. The solo was then overdubbed. George delivers a more controlled and confident solo on the finished version. You can hear similarities between this and the second Store Club solo, which suggests it may be the same player. The mono version of their single helps us see that the final solo was not played live with the band, but in fact overdubbed. Underneath George's solo, you can faintly hear John's original lead recorded when they cut the basic track of Take 5. Thus suggests the decision to add another guitar on top was made afterwards. Whether it was influenced by the original artist Carl Perkins remains unknown. This finding also casts light on who played a 12-string guitar in the background. Another common dispute surrounding this track is that John may have played the rhythm guitar on his Rickenbacker 32512. However, the release of the Beatles Anthology 4, which includes the first take, reveals that the basic track consisted of Ringo on drums and vocal, Paul on bass, and John on his 6-string Rickenbacker 325. That will leave George playing his Rickenbacker 12-string. George then overdubbed the guitar solo as we established earlier. As much as we might like to think that John used his Rickenbacker 12-string at some point during the Beatles recordings, the Matchbox session doesn't seem to be the one. Let's sum up our findings. Matchbox is a rare Beatles track where both John and George attempted the guitar solos. John would always take the first solo and George the second. Both John and George's solos are on the final single version. George played the 12 strings rhythm guitar. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.